Alright, so today we're going to create a 3D solid using the Loft command. And what the Loft command does is, instead of a revolve command like we did with the Frisbee, the Loft command actually looks for cross sections of an object to connect together, 2D cross section. So imagine a cross section. If you've ever been to the deli and you watch them slice some meat on the meat slicer, that would be a cross section. So we have to create some cross sections first. We're going to make an oil can similar to the one in the picture. So the first thing we need to do is we need to turn on the drafting tools, and we're going to create some rectangles, but we're actually going to round the edges of the corners. So I'm going to, before I even go into that, I'm going to make sure my grid display is on, my object snap is on, my object snap tracking is on, and I'm actually going to turn snap mode on for a little while in this. I'm not going to switch views yet. I'm going to stay in the basic view, 2D view for now. Top view, cube, nothing messed with there. So I'm going to click on the rectangle, and I'm going to create a rectangle somewhere on the grid. Doesn't really matter where. I'm going to start the first corner by clicking. I'm going to start moving down, but I'm going to tell the program that I know the dimensions of the rectangle, so I'm going to hit D, enter, because that's one of the options on the status bar if you look on the bottom. Okay, and the length of the rectangle, that's going to be the Y. The X. I want that to be 4, enter, and I want the width to be 3, enter. And the other thing that I'm going to turn on, that I can turn on now, is ortho mode. That will snap up, down, left, right. So now as I move around, you'll see I get the choice of how I want that to go. So just place it anywhere for now. That's fine. And now I want to round the corners. So I have to select it. I'm going to select this one, and it's actually going to make one within that, but that's okay. I'm going to hit enter to tell it I'm done with my selection, and then the options on the bottom are chamfer, elevation, fillet, thickness, and width. So fillet, F, is the one that I need to round the corners with. Okay, and then specify fillet radius for rectangles. Let's go with 0.4. Let's try that. Enter, and then specify first corner. I'm just going to come up to the first corner there, the opposite corner down here. All right, and now I have a rounded edge one. So now I can get rid of the one that was there. That gives us a nice guide to go with. I'm just going to delete that. Click once, hit delete, or I can use the eraser tool because I did that in a different way than I expected. Alright, so now we have the base of the oil can. Well, now we need to create other cross sections. So this is the first cross section. I'm going to come up to my view cube, and I'm going to activate a view that gives us a Z axis. So I'm going to click on the bottom right corner of the top view cube so that I get this. So now you can see we have the Z down here, bottom left. So now I need to create some more of these slightly different sizes or shapes sometimes. And I'm going to make copies of them, but I need to make sure when I'm moving them that I'm moving them directly up and down. So there's two things I'm going to do for that. One is I'm going to create a line that's going to sort of serve as my center point to keep me oriented. I'm going to erase it later because I won't really need it as part of the drawing, but just as a reference. So first thing, I need a line, and I want it to be directly in the center here, which I could probably count squares and measure it out, but since I have object snap tracking on, I'm going to hover on the midpoint there, hover on the midpoint there, and move until both of them light up. Sometimes you have to really wait a minute until that activates. There we go. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to start drawing up. Now you can see on the screen it says ortho 2 plus Z. That's letting you know you're on the Z axis. If I go down, you can see minus Z. Okay, but we're still going that way. So that makes sure that we're on the Z axis and not just drawing a diagonal line somewhere in a two-dimensional space. So let's make this pretty tall. Let's make this 9. Enter. All right, I'm going to zoom out so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to actually just pull it down so you can see. There we go. So now we have, and I'm just going to go to the front view so you can see what that looks like from the front. Now we have the base and a center line to work with. Okay, I'm going to flip it back to that view. Alright, so now I'm going to make some copies. We're still in the drafting toolbar. I'm going to click on copy. I'm going to grab the bottom profile, hit enter because I'm done selecting. Specify a base point. That's where are you going to grab this thing to move it. I want to grab it by the middle where we made that line. So I'm going to click there. And then as I start moving up, you'll see that it stays snapped onto that. Okay, and let's move up, oh, I don't know, let's move up 6, enter. Okay, actually it's a little tall, isn't it? But that's okay, we'll tweak it when we get done. Well, we can move it too. I'll move it. Works the same way as copy. Click the selection, enter, specify the base point. It's going to be there. I'm going to move down slightly. Okay, you can do it to your liking till it works to where you want it to be. Okay, let me try that one more time. Didn't seem to actually grab it. So specify base point. Okay, and then I'm actually going to type in a number. I want to go down 2 from where I was at. So there we go. All right, so that's going to be the sort of rectangular block part of the oil can. Now I need the neck and the cap. So I'm going to create some circles for that. I'm going to go to circle radius. I'm going to start on the bottom because I want to move it. I want to make sure it's along that center point. So I'm going to click the center of the line, and let's go out. Diameter 0.5 seems like a good measurement. And all I did was go out 1 square on the grid, and I'm going to move that. Click the circle, enter. I'm going to specify my base point, which is still going to be the center, enter, or click, and I'm just going to start moving up. Now this was at 6, the whole thing is 9, so let's put this at 9 for now because that will be the top. Alright, and we'll do a move copy, a copy down here. We'll copy that, enter, and I'll specify the base point again, click there, and I'll move down let's say 2, enter. Alright, now that top circle, I'm actually going to change that dimension on that because I want it to be, whoops, I actually want it to be slightly wider for the cap. I'm going to delete that circle. Alright, I'm going to make one more. I'll make it on the top this time. Okay, and we'll go twice as big. Let's just go 0.75. That was really too big. Split the difference. All right, and I'm going to make one copy of that because the cap itself will be needed to be copied. Enter, base point, pull down 1, enter. Awesome. Okay, so this doesn't look like much, but it's really going to be something pretty good when we're done lofting it. So this part is actually the hard part that we've done. Now the lofting is really easy. You go up to the solids menu, the modeling, over on the toolbar, and right beside revolve, to the right of that, is the loft command. So you click loft command, and then it says select cross sections in lofting order or point to join multiple edges mode. So we're just going to select the edges we want to loft, and you'll see it start to come together as you click. So we're going to click the base, then click the next part. Okay, you see it come together like that. I'm going to click this part, and it doesn't quite look like an oil can yet. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to click the parts for the cap. Okay, so it's kind of a neat shape, you can see. But before we do anything else, make sure and hit enter because we're done selecting cross sections. Okay, now you should get on your screen a little blue arrow with a loft tool thing on it. Now if you still have the grid snap on, which we do, I'm going to turn that off because I may not be able to actually get to that blue arrow. If you click on that blue arrow, you have some options for how this is done. This is set right now to smooth fit, and I actually would like to make this one ruled, and you'll see the difference. The ruled one is much more like the oil can in the example, and I'm going to go to 2D wireframe and change it to realistic so you can actually see it shaded in. Give it a second to render, and oh, because I didn't hit enter at that last step. We'll do that one more time. Loft, choose your cross sections you want to loft. Oh, but at least it's in realistic view now. enter, and then I want to choose ruled, and then I want to choose enter. Okay, so now I did make one mistake, as you probably noticed. This is not angled on the example I gave you. You know, the dimensions are not the greatest. I probably could have added, checked some measurements before I did this. This could actually be brought up significantly. And you can see, obviously, the neck is not quite the same way, but you have the general idea here. Now, there is still that center line in the middle, and you can actually see that as a little tiny dot at the top if you look very carefully. If I go back to wireframe view, we can actually just get rid of that in the middle, and we're all set. So you can see from that quick example how easy it is to make lofted objects. Obviously, bottles work really well with this, but really anything where you can start to process 3D shape in terms of 2D shapes that go along the same along an axis together that you could kind of stack together. For the 4, I want you to try to do the from the wiki, which is that, hang on just one second, engineering. This is the shape I want you to try for a 4. It's still another oil bottle, but as you can see, it's not lined up on the center anymore. This one was center. This one is not lined up on the center for the nozzle of the bottle, the neck of the bottle. So that will be your 4. Best of luck.